Happy Tuesday, everybody. Yesterday we measured using paper clips and we found that it was pretty tricky. You had to line them up end to end with no gaps or overlaps. But have you really ever seen people measuring using paper clips? Not very often. That's because that's not really a standard unit of measurement. People figured out a long time ago that in order to talk to each other about how long something was, they needed a standard unit of measurement. In the United States, where we live, one of our standard units of measurement is called an inch. So if you have a ruler at home, you might notice that on one side there are inches, okay? On the other side there are centimeters, and we'll talk about those another day. Today we're really just talking about inches. Most rulers have 12 inches on them. But I also have this other tool for measuring length at home. It's a measuring tape. And I was getting out my measuring tape, and I noticed it could get a lot longer than 12 inches. But I wanted to make sure that these inches are really a standard unit of measurement, so I put my ruler right up next to my measuring tape. And if you look, you can see that the inches all end in the exact same place. There's 1 inch and 1 inch, 2 inches and 2 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 4 inches. That's because an inch is a standard unit of measurement. It's the same on any ruler or any measuring tape that has inches. Now, I think one thing that's really cool is that if you go like this with your finger and you line it up with an inch, it's often about 1 inch. But the key there is about. My finger, or that part of my finger, is not a standard unit of measurement. To get an exact measurement in inches today, I'm going to use my ruler. Okay? So I have here on my whiteboard some lines, and just by looking at them, I can start to estimate or guess. Some of these lines look shorter, and some of these lines look longer. But I'm going to measure them to make sure that I'm correct. To measure with my ruler, I'm going to line up the beginning of my ruler with the beginning of my line, and then I'm going to check and see where the line ends. This line ends pretty much exactly at the 3, which means that it is 3 inches. And I can record that length like this, 3, and then I can use this abbreviation to write the word inch more quickly. It looks like in, doesn't it? So I could write 3 inches using that abbreviation. Okay, let's do our next one. I'm going to line up the beginning of my ruler with the beginning of the line. Make sure it's nice and straight. Can you tell how many inches long? This one is about 8 inches. It's almost exactly at the 8. So I can record it like this, 8, and then I'll write IN for inches. Okay, here's my next one. I'm gonna line up the beginning of my ruler, the beginning of my line. How long do you think it is? If you said 5 inches, you're correct. It ends almost exactly at the 5. So I'm gonna write 5 inches. And already I can see that my guesses were correct. I thought these 2 lines were shorter, and I know I'm right because 3 inches is less than 8 inches. 5 inches is less than 8 inches. Now, as I look at this last line, the first thing I'm noticing is that this is longer than any of the other lines I've measured. Before I measure it, do you want to make a guess about how long you think it is? If this one was 3 inches and this one is 8 inches, what do you guess about this one? I'm wondering if it might be 9 or probably 10 inches, possibly 11, but it doesn't look quite as long as my ruler, so I don't think it's 12. I'll line up the beginning of the inches side of my ruler with the beginning of the line. And then where do you think that line ends? If you said 11, I would agree with you. Some of the line got a little bit erased when I was putting my hand up there, but I would bet it's about 11 inches. So what do you think? Was that close to what your guess was? Okay, if you want to watch the next video, we're going to talk about what to do when your line doesn't end exactly at the inch mark. Okay? Click on the next one if you want more of a challenge.